Hi, my name is Nicole Potter, and today I'm going to be speaking on the topic of violence in video games. Go ahead and show my audience real quick. And today for my persuasive speech, I chose violence in video games because I thought, it's gotten out of hand in the past. There's multiple issues with it, and that's what I'm going to be stating in my speech today. For instance, if children were monitored more by their parents as they get older, the video games would not be an aspect in their lives, and kids would not have psychological issues that need to rely on these video games to get their anger out. So with more parental guidance, there's no reason that this video game violence should keep going. It's not a clear stopping point, but there's no way to stop it. This is a way to prevent it from happening. And over the past couple decades, this society has become more dependent on video games, and desensitization of violence has grown rampant. More people are suffering, in other words. Desensitization is my first point. When the children are playing these video games, they are racking up more points the more harm they do on the video game. And according to Iowa State University psychologists, there was a test taken involving 257 students where they had to play violent video games and non-violent video games for 5 minutes and then were required to watch real-life violence. The results demonstrate that playing violent video games, even for just 20 minutes, can cause people to become less psychologically aroused by real violence, said Carnegie from Iowa State University. So, it appears that if children go playing violent video games and then watch real violence, and they have no real feelings about the real violence, what's to say they will not act on that real violence? So that is my next point, acting on violence from video games. Now, there has been a specific instance in history that has involved this. In fact, pretty recently, an instance in school violence. In Newtown, Connecticut, on December 14th of 2012, a young adult was charged for shooting up a children's school and staff in Connecticut because of highly involving himself in video games. And as they reported, Adam Lanza is the man, he was reported with mental illness as well. So when you add mental illness and violent video games together, it's a recipe for disaster. According to BuzzFeed News, beyond proximity, there was no clear reason why Lanza chose Sandy Hook Elementary as his target. He was living so close that without monitoring of his mother that lived with him, he was able to go and do whatever. With his mental issues, he went and shot up the school. This is a horrible instance of bad parenting, but, if his parents would have monitored him a little bit better, made sure his psychological issues were taken care of, it might not have occurred. And because of this instance of brutality, there has also been a huge issue with social isolation. This is now my third point on pointing out that there is an addiction to these video games. They are very addicting. Video game addiction website, in fact, says addicted gamers spend so much time playing that their personal relationships get neglected and sometimes disappear altogether. They neglect their relationships. They spend so many hours on the video games, they don't have social skills. So with involved parents encouraging their children to go out, with involved parents telling them and encouraging them to go out, that's just a main point that could be focused on. And I found a website that actually helps parents become more involved with their children through this process and solution of these violent video games. It's called Yes, Safe Choices, and it has 8 tools you can use to get more involved in your child's life. And that is also not it's like a not paid for organization. So, again, if we were monitoring our children better, as they get older, they would not need these video games in their lives and they would not get their anger out on them. We need to get rid of this violence. Monitoring our children instead of letting them go to shootings. Active instead of mesmerized by their video games. This is just some things that would help children out these days with violence in video games. Through parental involvement, the solution is very practical, as 90% of children have parents in their lives. So this could be a very easy solution. It does not involve spending any money. That is an incentive. Another incentive is a deeper relationship with their children these parents will have. and having the desire of a deeper relationship with your child will flourish this solution. So to conclude, what I've gone over is desensitization of violence. We've gone over acting on violence from video games, and we've gone over the fact that we need to monitor our children more. And basically, violence is a reoccurring problem, and that's not going to stop. But with video games, it's reoccurring, it's aggressive actions, it's desensitization of violence, it's social isolation. Through parental involvement, socially awkwardness would be eliminated because of children would be encouraged to go out. Children would be monitored by their parents. Although this is a very personal solution to violence in video games, I do believe that this will cause parents to want to be more involved in their children if they are aware of these risks of violence in video games. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.